With an understanding about the basics of machine learning, now we are going to set up an environment and we are going to understand the basic packages required for implementing your machine learning algorithms, right? So to start with, we are going to see completely about a package called NumPy, which stands for Numerical Python. So before getting in detail about that package, let's recall how the data is being stored as part of the repositories in machine learning, right? So whatever data that we are collecting as part of the experience from the real world, okay, is being stored in the form of a matrix format, right? That's what we have seen already, wherein the column represents your attributes, which is represented as the characteristics of the particular domain. So if you take a task, whatever characteristic or attribute that's going to affect that particular task becomes your column. And the rows corresponds to the different experiences that we collect from the entities, right? So each and every entity have to fill in all the columns or a partial set of column corresponding to them. This is how it is being recorded. So we are in need of a complete package that can support the maximum possible operations that we can do on a matrix. Let's say you may want to take a part of it. You may want to compute standard deviation, mean. You may want to compute the diagonal element alone. You may want to fill up the unfilled elements using a particular value. So many different matrix operations. You may want to compute the transpose of a matrix, inverse of a matrix. Whatever be it, we are in need of a complete package that supports all the different possible operations that we can do on a array, right? So it's not restricted to two dimensional, it could be 1D, 2D, or any number of dimensions as per the requirement of our domain of interest. Before proceeding further, I request all of you to install Jupyter and the Jupyter notebook and make it ready for execution. The ways to install it is already given as a video in my channel, and you can go and refer it. These links are available as a text below this video. You can refer to it, or else you can install by yourself. Okay, if you don't have a system that is supporting enough processing speed, you can very well go and use Google Colab, which is a cloud-based collaborative laboratory given by Google. Okay, so keep in mind the processing and the data storage will be part of the Google, and you are not supposed to give any data that you think is confidential for you. Okay, so because that's a cooperative laboratory environment which you may use, I may use, and so many people are using. But the advantage of Google Colab is that you don't need to have a sophisticated processor. Rather, you want to have only a convenient internet connection which can support the speed up of operations. That's it, right? So once this is ready, you can move on for executing this numerical Python methods and operations. So let us first have a quick understanding of the methods that are supporting. I haven't given a very exhaustive list. I am giving only the preferable operations that is supporting. The list goes long as far as the days are evolving. So array is a basic operation that is supported for creating your arrays. The number of square bracket represents how many number of dimensions you are having. If you have only one set of square bracket, it means it is one dimensional. If you have two square brackets like this, it is two dimensional. If you want to include two rows and two columns, you can have element 1 followed by element 2. So this forms the row 1, and it should be followed by whatever elements you want to have as part of the element row 2. Okay, that's it. So this represents row 1, this represents row 2, and altogether this represents a two dimensional array. And if you want an initialized sorry, if you want an array to be initialized only with 0, you can create an array. You can use a function called zeros by passing the number of rows and then the number of columns. So all these things takes two parameters, number of rows and then number of columns. So in order to create a array with 2 rows and 3 columns, you have to give 2 comma 3. Similarly, if you want to create an array initialized with ones, you can use this. Okay, and some of the basic operations that are there. Dot shape will tell you what is the dimension of the array. dot n dimension will tell you how many dimensions are there. Let's say here it is 2-dimensional array. That's what n time will give you. Shape tells you how many rows and columns are there. Okay. Size represents totally how many elements are there in an array. It's mostly a multiplicative operative operation of this size. Okay. D type tells you what is the data type that is associated with the particular array. So if it is integer or floating point, that will be represented. Then item size. Item size states how many bytes of memory is used for storing one data. If it is integer in Python, it takes 4 bytes. So you'll get 32 bits. So that is the item size. In continuing that, n bytes states how many total number of bytes required for storing the array. So it is how many number of elements that you have totally in the array, which is given by size, multiplied by how much element or how much size is being occupied by per element, which is given by your item size. Correct. So fill is used to fill the elements with a particular value. Let's say zeros will fill for 0 value, ones will fill value 1. If you want to fill all the elements with 5, you can use fill. Okay. And there are two special operations. These 4 operations are very special in the case that they will generate matrices of you, for you. Okay. Suppose A range. What is that A range is? It will create an array for you using the range operation. So A range, array range. So normally range will take 3 parameters, you know. What is that? Start. If I start with 1, it will be the starting value. If I want to stop with 10, I have to give 11 as the stop value, because we know in Python the stop value will not be taken into account. If I write 1, 11, it is 1, 10. Suppose if I want to give 2 units as my interval, I have to include 2. Okay, so what does it mean? This is start value, this is stop value, and then this is your interval. Okay, so it will automatically create an array. How many elements it will have? 1, then 3, 5, 7, 9. That's it, right? So that is the use of A range. You can create an automatic arrays. So this will be very much useful when you want to fill up your data set with common values or values with a specific interval. Then line space, okay, LIN space. So this is also very useful, but it's slightly different from A range in the sense that if I give the same value 1, 11, so it will start with 1, end with 11. It will include 11 also. The third parameter states how many number of values you want to have in between 1 and 11. Suppose if it is 20, okay. Suppose if the input is 1, 11, 20, from 1 till 11, including both the values, it will create 20 items. Okay, so this interval between these two items will automatically be created by this Python itself, package itself. Okay, then comes I, which is used to create an identity matrix. So the diagonal element alone will become 1, rest of all will become 0. And this also, actually Python has a special package called random to create and to have perform different set of operations using random numbers. That package can be reused over here in numeric Python alone, that is random. Okay, then the next, coming to the next important operation called slicing. So this is more useful when while coming to machine learning algorithm. So I have attached one picture stating a 2-dimensional array. Okay, so these are the columns. How many columns do we have? 5. How many rows do we have? 4. And the indexing starts with 0. Okay, and how to access a particular element? See, let us say a of 1, 2. Which element it corresponds to? The first element represents your row. The second index represents your column. So go to row 1 and go to column 2. So 8 is the value that will be returned by this particular operation, right? Suppose if I want to retrieve all the values of column 2, okay, irrespective of row, how to do? I have to just give a colon. Colon represents all the values, right? So colon 2 will give you all the values that are there in column 2, right? Then comes a of 3 comma colon. So what happens? The row is designated to be 3, so it's fixed, and the column is not designated to any value, so all the values of row 3 will be printed, right? So next comes a further partitioning or slicing, right? What is the rows that we want? 2 colon 3. So what does it mean? It will start with 2, but it won't include 3, because always the end value will not be included. So what is the column? It is row, it is nothing but the row 2 alone. Okay, and what is the column number we want to print? So in row 2 the column value is 2, so what is the value that should be printed here? It should be 13. Okay, so 13 is the value we should expect out of this. You can check in your IPython notebook after listening to my lecture. Okay, now furthermore slicing, right? Now a of 1 colon 3. So starting with index 1 and moving till 2. Why? Because 3 will not be included, right? You can remove this we won't want. So 1 colon 3, which means starting from row 1 moving toward row 2. Okay, so 3 will not be included. And what are the columns that we should include? 0 colon 2. So what is it? 0 1, right? So what are the values that should be printed? These 4 values. How? You think of start with row 1 and end it in 2. So this rows and this row will be taken into account. What are the columns? So it is column 0 and column 1. So you create an intersection among that. These 4 are the values that should be expected out of this output. Then colon, what does it mean? It's very easy. All the values need to be printed. Correct? Now coming to a more specific kind of striding. Okay, so special kind of operation that is performed on slicing is what we call as striding. Suppose if in case I don't want all the continuous values, I want only values based on a particular interval. That is what we call as a striding. See, look into that. 0 colon 2. What does it mean? Start value 0. The stop value is not specified in the sense it should go for all the rows. Okay. And what is the step over? You have to go in step of 2. So what are the rows you have to consider? Row 0. Should I consider 1? Yes, we should not consider. So should I consider 2? Yes. 3 will not be considered and it will get over. Then coming to the columns. Okay, so if you take the column, the row value and the column value is not given. Rather, only the step value is given. So row will start with 0. Column value will start with 0. Column value will end with 4. And what is the step value in terms of 3? Okay. So after including column 0, it will skip 1 and 2 and it will skip 3. It will include 3. Okay, now coming to an intersection of whatever will be printed. So it will print 1 and on the same row it will print 4. So this will appear as one list. Okay, because it falls into first row. Then coming to second row, what will be expected? It should print 11 followed by 14. It should print 11 followed by 14, correct. Okay, so both should be included as a part of a list. So that's what an array, so that is what is called as striding. So it's possible enough to retrieve not only the sequential portion but also portions that after some possible fixed interval, right? So, and this is a very important function if you are planning to work with the image processing algorithm, in the sense that in images, most of the time we are need to have a mask to hide some pixel and to open up some other pixel. Okay, it's a very basic example. So how to do that? Okay, so let me create one array A to create a mask. How to create a mask is that for the number of elements that are there available, if you want a particular element to be present, you can include 1 or else it is 0. Now what I did is I have created a mask to state whether the number given in the array is a prime number or not. So I have left out 1. We don't want to get into that confusion. So I have placed 0. 2 and 3 are prime numbers. So both are 1. 4 is not a prime number. Then 5 is a prime number. 6 is not a prime number. Compulsorily you have to give d type is equal to boolean. Otherwise there may be a possibility to consider it as a integer. Good. So now so we have to apply this mask on the data set. So what will be the possible result of this? It will return only the prime numbers. Okay. This execution we'll see shortly in the execution environment. And so many methods that are supported in Python. So to name a few, sum, product, minimum, maximum. Then in order to identify where the minimal element presents, you have argument minimum and argument maximum. The very important concept that we need to understand in machine learning, mean, variance, standard deviation, average, weighted average are all possibly available as a method in NumPy package. And both scalar as well as vector operations are supported. I have listed out scalar, all arithmetic operation, relational operation, then plus equal to, minus equal to, trigonometric, logarithmic operations are supported in NumPy. And you have a vector operation supported too. What are the vector operation? Inner product, outer product, dot product. Okay, so those are also readily available. If you want, you can use it, right? So before completing the session, let me show you how all these operations are being implemented in Jupyter Notebook. I'm going to attach as a downloadable file. You can download, upload in the installed Jupyter Notebook and have a look at. Okay. For every operation, I have given the comment followed by the output also. You can create an arrays. You can understand the attributes. The special arrays you can create like zeros, ones, i's and all. And creating arrays like using arange, creating arrays using li and Swiss, slicing with the same data I have explained so that it would be useful for you, and masking. And these are the methods, sum, product and all, arithmetic, scalar operation, relational operation, trigonometric and logarithmic operation. Vector operation is an optional for you, and you can make use of it if you are in need of that. Okay. So all those things will be available as a downloadable file for you. So before coming to the next environment, we expect you to have a complete understanding on NumPy. Till this point of time, you are expected to set up an environment, and you should be able to import and perform all the operations using NumPy. And I have left out some of the portions stating with the comment that try of your own. Okay. So you have to fill in those IPython comments, and you have to be comfortably ready for the next session where we are going to talk in detail about the pandas. Right. Thank you.